Never mind. I'm not helping.
Yeah.
Not helping.
I mean, this is really the problem when when you run into a situation where people believe things versus, are shown things via facts. You can't argue with beliefs. People choose to believe them or they don't believe them. And so any kind of challenge to that belief system is going to cause an immediate visceral response from the person who gets challenged, and they don't care. And it is the same, this is the same when you tell people the earth is not flat. The immediate reaction back then was you're lying, it's heresy, it's totally not true. And that you run right into it. Now we're seeing the exact same thing. People start shouting fake news, and at least on my page, that's hey, bye, you're getting blocked because we're not going to have this discussion anymore.
Well, I just want to state for the record that I figured out a few months ago that the Flat Earth Society actually still exists and has a ridiculous number of members that genuinely believe the Earth is flat. I know somebody that I work with that her father will argue till his dying breath that the Earth is indeed flat. And I just want to shake this man and go, what the fuck have you been smoking?
And where can I get some?
Yeah.
Damn. I'd like to not be in this reality right now.
It's not legal in Texas. Whatever it is.
Hey, and
Guess
if
what,
Sean
Katie, we're coming
has
over.
his way, it's... Well, if Sean has his way, it's not going to be legal anywhere.
No kidding. I think that's probably going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And it's like, wait a minute, we finally got the weed legal in some states. You guys can't take that away from us. So I have
actually
seen so
shouted,
much uproar.
I actually shouted in the house the other day, you can take our lives, but you'll never take our pot.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I am going to be posting, it's a little graphic that has been making the rounds on a lot of the social media sites. I'm going to be posting it again to Facebook, and it basically breaks down all of the news sources, the main ones. And it shows you exactly where everybody sits and leans. We're going to repost it so that you guys can educate yourself and share it with your friends, so that the next time somebody off of Breitbart starts screaming that their news is legit, the only news, you can pull this out and be like, listen, motherfucker, you see how you're all the way over here on this far end? On the right side of the page? Yeah, that's where you live.
Yeah, right side at the
I
bottom.
recommend taping it to a bat.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, yeah, I mean, well, there we have that. So I'm going to get that posted. Let's move on to more things that will probably really, really piss you off. Again, if you've been paying any kind of attention. I'm going to throw it over to Aaron, who's going to keep us up on the latest with all the crazy immigration stuff that has been happening.
Okay, y'all. I had to break it into 3 categories because there is so much happening. So I broke it up into holy shit, what the fuck Trump, and fun facts. So there is that much information to go through. So first, I'm not sure how many people actually realize the scope of this, but this week the Department of Homeland Security released a memo. That memo actually includes a ton of just little horrific little things that are going to happen. So basically, they are creating a new division called VOICE, which is Victims of Immigration Crime Engagement. What that means is this is for known victims of crimes committed by removable aliens. That's the quote. They are going to actually reallocate resources away from advocacy on behalf of illegal immigrants and use that for voice. So basically, funds will be taken away from the defense of illegal immigrants, moved to this group called Voice, or this office called Voice, that helps victims of immigrant crime. They also are going to hire 10,000 additional ICE officers, and they're going to expand the definition of crimes to include charged but not convicted. So that means if you are detained and an ICE officer thinks you kind of seems suspicious, they can detain you. Not convicted, as long as you're charged with something, they can keep you. The other thing they're going to do is just send a whole host of people back to Mexico. So Hondurans, Salvadorans, non-Mexicans, they're just going to say, you're brown, let's take you back to Mexico. And Mexico's like, no thanks. That's okay, we're not going to do that. They basically said it's a non-starter. This is not happening. So Kelly and Tillerson had to go to Mexico and basically say, hey, this is what's happening. And it's apparently a very tense situation between Mexico and the U.S. now, surprisingly. So that is horrific thing one. All of that. That's all in the memo. I will actually post that so that everyone can read it because it's pretty frightening. Also, this week, I'm sure many of you have heard about it. There was a man, Adam Puritan, who shot two Indians as he was saying, get out of my country. And basically, the reason this is important, the reason I included this under immigration is because this is just a completely, sadly, perfect example of what has been released in this administration, this emboldening of fear and anger. And these people, Srinivas Kuchibhotla, I think is how you say it, and Alok Madhusani were the two who were attacked. And they are Indian, they are here legally, they are not the people that this man thinks they were, and he shot and killed one of them and injured the other. Trump has not said anything. He has not stated how it's horrific, or he hasn't even mentioned it at all. So radio silence, but I bet if those two people were white, we sure as shit would have heard about it. So that's holy shit. So under what the fuck Trump at a rally referenced a terrorist attack in Sweden and used that terrorist attack as a way to explain why all of these immigration bans are needed. Turns out he was just watching Fox News. And nope, there are no terrorist attacks in Sweden. Sweden was like, what? Nope, nothing here. So also, Trump has called the immigration raids a military operation, which it's really important to note that, because that is how he sees this. He seems to think that the military can enforce civilian laws. And again, Kelly and Tillerson had to do some damage control on that. Even Sean Spicer told reporters, oh, that's just an adjective. No, an adjective for what? We don't know. But yeah, so more what the fuck Trump. And then, okay, let's stop and take a moment, because I know that is a lot of info to take in.
I just want to express how incredibly difficult it was to get through all that without just like screaming at the top of my lungs.
Yes, and I'm so sorry I just barreled through. I will let you have a moment to process.
Like a Band-Aid, you just gotta rip it off.
That's right, just do it. Just tell me the bad things. All the bad things.
I do want to note that the White House did come out and say about the shooting of the two men in Kansas that it was a terrible tragedy, but in no way was a result of the rhetoric that has been coming out around, coming from the White House about immigration and about all of the issues with immigrants
and that was after...
in this country. And to that I say, yeah, bullshit.
Yeah, and the only reason that they came out with that was because the government of India was calling for it and saying, you guys need to respond to this. This is absolutely unacceptable, and you can't not respond to this. And that's just, I am so sickened by all of this stuff. And those weren't even the only white terroristic acts we've had recently. I mean...
Yeah! Oh, yeah, for sure.
The guy who wanted to bomb the targets and the kid who wanted to have another shooting like Dylan Roof did, and just all of these things. And the White House is just silent about it.
And the number of hate crimes that
Absolutely.
slowly escalated over the months.
Yep.
Yeah,
The
let's
Jewish
talk
community
about the
centers.
Jewish cemeteries
Yeah.
that
Oh,
have
gosh.
been
The
destroyed in
cemeteries
the last. Because there was another one that happened in Philly last night,
Yep.
or the night
Yep.
before. And while we're on that subject, let's talk about the fact that the Muslim communities in this country raised a shit ton of money to put those back and have done a shit ton of work. So I don't want anybody coming on this page, because I will slap you so hard if you come in and try and claim that Muslims
Katie.
or immigrants or anybody else are not doing the damn work in this country. The rest of you people are sitting on your asses, quite frankly.
Absolutely. Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Wendy. Sorry.
Out in California, where Trump is refusing to help the people affected by the flooding, the Sikh communities are the ones who are out there providing food and shelter and, support for these people who have been displaced by the flooding caused by the Oroville Dam. And Trump is just ignoring the governor's requests for aid because, he feels threatened by California. And it's amazing to me that these people are having to step up when our government should be the ones doing it.
Yeah. I mean, luckily though, it's a great example of how these communities are needed, that this diversity isn't a bad thing. And the other thing too, that, should be noted within immigration is, all of these orders and issues and the way in which our government is now trying to keep people out of this country. It's a fact that when you keep people from coming in, there are jobs that they do that we don't do. Like, okay, let's face it, a lot of Indians come over and they have credentials. They work in a lot of different fields that we don't necessarily have the people to work in. What's going to happen to our farmlands? Like, I mean, there are a lot of different jobs that we're going to have no one to do if we don't have the people. We're just kind of screwing ourselves.
Well, I mean, and it's not going to set in for a lot of these people, especially a lot of the Trump supporters, until they're, standing there and, their entire, crops have, rotted away because they don't have enough people to go and, collect all their crops, or whatever race it is. I mean, it's just, until it's not there, you're not going to notice. But I promise you, it's kind of like when the power goes out and you don't realize how much you freaking desperately need the damn power on, because you worry about like, oh, I can't watch TV, or like my laptop won't work. But then you start realizing, oh crap, the AC also doesn't work, and now it's hot as balls in here. Well, thanks for making our country hot as balls.
Yeah. You can't flush the toilet because the pump runs on electricity to refill your...
Our country's hot as balls, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
Is there a good way to be hot as balls?
No, I just said that, and I don't know what I meant.
And that's Erin at NastyWomenNation.com. No,
I've been drinking today. You guys know that.
No, I think all of
Wait, are
this...
people going to send me letters?
I hope so.
No, I think all of this is symptomatic of the administration's goals. I mean, when you look at what Bannon said when he spoke at the CPAC the other day about the appointments that have been made are there to destroy the administrative controls that there are in this country. And let's see, the third broadly line of work is the deconstruction of the administrative state. So they're out to dismantle everything that holds our country together just for the sake of doing it.
And nobody's like bothered by this. Like none of the Trump supporters, like 99.9% of whom use a great deal of those services provided by the administrative state. We're talking veterans checks and Social Security checks and Medicare checks and all the services at various areas. you know, your DMV, your road crews, your like not